All right. So welcome you all. Sorry for the delay because there was some technical issue. This is my first time taking live lectures on Zoom. So it's not easy for me to, handle the Zoom thing. But now I am learning. Okay. So now everything is clear. There is no technical issue from my end, and we are restarting the lecture. We are restarting the class. We are going to start this, modern Indian history batch for all of you. I'm so sorry. I've wasted half an hour of your time. I know UPSC aspirants, even 30 minutes, even a minute is very precious. And I've wasted 32 minutes. I'm very sorry for that. But let's restart the lecture without any delay. See, this lecture is made for all of you so that before your exam, you would be in a position to be very confident, that modern Indian history is on our fingertips. We have the notes with us. We just have to go through the notes. No need to look at the books. We have all the PYQs, every material in our register. Okay, I want that kind of confidence in you before your exam. And that is why I have created and designed this 10-day batch for all of you. I hope you will be satisfied by the end of today's lecture that we are in the right hands when it comes to modern Indian history. And the lecture would take place 70% it would be in English, and 30% the explanation would be in Hindi. Okay, so even if you are a Hindi medium student, you can easily understand the lecture. It would be very simple English that I would be using. Okay, there would be no hi-fi words. I am no Shashi Tharoor sir, right? So let's get started. So in the history, when we talk about this subject, it is not boring. The textbooks make it boring, right? And that is why I created this batch, because we'll be studying history purely in flowchart format, in timeline format, so that it would become very interesting for you to just revise and go through the timeline. Okay. History is a subject in which you don't have to do any PhD. The syllabus is very clear about what to study and what to ignore. And we are going to move ahead with the syllabus only. Okay. So on the first page of your register, please create this flowchart that I am creating today, so that if in case you come across any waste material or resource which says that studying this, you will be in a position to memorize history, even, for the period after UPSC. So you will be aware that we don't have to waste and put waste our time and efforts in all these rubbish resources. We have our registers of Brahmastra batch and we'll be revising through it only. Okay, तो ऐसा कोई भी रिसोर्स आगे आपके फ्यूचर में आपके सामने आता है कि भाई ये चीज, ये रेड बुक, ये ब्लू बुक जो होती है, ये पढ़ लो और इससे तो आपकी हिस्ट्री एकदम स्ट्रॉन्ग टिप्स पे आ जाएगी, तो आपको पता होगा ये सब बोगस चीजें हैं. ठीक है. हिस्ट्री बेसिकली इज डिवाइडेड इनटू डिफरेंट पार्ट्स in UPSC. Ancient, then we have medieval Indian history, then we have the modern Indian history, and then we have the world history. Ancient Indian history mein we have the following topics: Indus Valley civilization, also known as the Harappan civilization. We have the Vedic civilization. Now I ask the students, what is the meaning of Vedic civilization? Why it is known as Vedic? Vedic civilization basically is the period when the Vedas were compiled. Okay, there are 4 kinds of Vedas, and those Vedas were compiled. Basically, the spiritual knowledge was spread in the Vedic civilization only. Yes, spirituality was also a part of the Indus Valley civilization, because we have some kind of coins and we have some kind of motifs which represents Shiv, Parvati. But Vedic civilization has the written content. Okay, the written content on spirituality. That was the Vedic civilization. So you can say that spirituality in literary sense, that means written format, it spread during the Vedic civilization, the Vedas, and that is why the name is Vedic civilization. Now, when we talk about Vedas, Vedas are also known as Shruti. Vedas को हम श्रुति भी बोलते हैं. Is the screen visible? Please let me know, because it is fully visible from my end. I am watching this on the second screen, the lecture on the second screen, and it is fully visible to me. Okay, it is fully visible. All right. So now when we talk about Shruti, why Vedas are known as Shruti? Who will tell me in the comment section? Vedas को श्रुति क्यों बोलते हैं? कौन बताएगा comment section में मुझे? Why Vedas are known as Shruti? What is the meaning of Shruti? Shruti or Shruti? No, it is not the correct answer, Harish. Anyone else who wants to try? Just try. Even if it is not correct, just try. Because they were heard. Yes, Amritansh. Very good. They are known as Shruti because they were heard directly. from the universe. Who heard them? The sages. The sages who are known as Sapta Rishis. How many of you have heard about Sapta Rishis? Raise your hands. सप्त ऋषिस के बारे में कितने बच्चों ने सुना है? जल्दी से बताएं मुझे. Raise your hands if you have heard about Sapta Rishis. Sapta means 7. Rishi means the sages. Okay, 7 sages. It is said that the knowledge of the universe, the spiritual knowledge, was given to us by these Sapta Rishis, the 7 sages, the enlightened beings. And sometimes it is also said that these beings were not from our planet. They came from some other realm, not from our planet, not from our physical realm, some other spiritual realm. They came to this realm, the physical material realm on our planet, to give us this knowledge. Okay. Now it is, thoda sa mysticism ho jata hai. We are not going to delve into that. But these Sapta Rishis heard this knowledge of the universe, and they passed on this knowledge not by writing but orally. So that is why it is known as, the Vedas are known as Shruti, that which can be heard. You can also write it down. That which was heard. Okay, वो जो सुनकर पास ऑन हुआ है नॉलेज, उसको वेद बोलते हैं, श्रुति बोलते हैं. You heard something from me, you passed on that knowledge to someone else, that is known as Shruti. Later on it was compiled. Okay, but initially it was spread. Gurukul system used to be there, and there were no books, no pens and paper and everything else. Okay, students used to sit near the gurus, the teachers. They used to gain the knowledge through just their listening. Okay, so their focus was very sharp, because whatever mantras they used to learn, next day they used to recite it also. At that time, in the ancient medieval period, the focus of the students was very sharp. Today the focus is very low. Why? The attention span is low. Why? Because of shorts, the Instagram shorts, the YouTube shorts. This is very important topic for your interview also, and for your essay writing also. Please don't forget it. Why the attention level or the attention span of the person, average person, right, in the world is decreasing? Because of the culture of shorts. Within 15 seconds, they are trying to give you all the knowledge. And because shorts, you keep on swiping it down and down and down. That is why you miss on the power of retaining the knowledge. And that is why the attention span is also decreasing. Now people cannot sit for more than 5 minutes, right? Even if you try to sit for 5 minutes, your mind will be very chirpy, very active. It would not let you to sit quietly for 5 minutes. कभी कभी मन करेगा हाथों को इधर उधर घुमा लो, कभी उठ जाओ, कभी बैठ जाओ. तो माइंड भी हमारा बहुत ज्यादा अभी impatient हो गया है because of this short culture. Okay, that is why it is said कि you have to put a time frame on the usage of YouTube and Instagram, right? And even Twitter. So Vedic civilization, you will have to study in the ancient Indian history. Then here you will study about the Mauryan period. Then you will study about the Gupta period. Okay, I hope you are making this flow chart, because it's going to help you a lot. Okay, Mauryan period, Gupta period. Until Gupta period, ancient Indian history would be over. Then we will transit into medieval Indian history. Medieval Indian history में क्या आ जाता है? The Delhi Sultanate period, Prithviraj Chauhan's period. Okay, the Delhi Sultanate Chauhan period would come in medieval Indian history. The Mughal Empire, the starting of the Mughal Empire will come in medieval Indian history. But in modern Indian history, we will study it in 2 phases. First phase would be 1700 to 1857. And second phase would be 1858 to 1947. These would be the 2 phases in which we would be studying the modern Indian history. Okay. Now, when we talk about 1700 to 1857, here we would study the decline of the Mughal Empire. How after the death of Aurangzeb, the Mughal Empire was declining. Why it was declining? Only one question will be asked in mains on the decline of Mughal Empire. And the question would be, why did the Mughal Empire decline? That would be the only question that they can ask. So it's you can predict very well what from the later Mughal period can be asked in your mains. Another thing that they can ask in mains is about the art and architecture of the Mughal Empire, because after Aurangzeb died, the later Mughals administration was bullshit. It was bogus. They were not able to administrate India. They were not able to consolidate different territories, different states, right? And they fell prey to lust, to materialism, and that is why they were not very good kings. अच्छे राजा नहीं थे लेटर मुगल्स, मतलब कोई तो ग्रीड में मरा जा रहा है, कोई लस्ट में जा रहा है, कोई किसी चीज में जा रहा है, पर एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन किसी को नहीं करना. सो एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन वाज इन द हैंड्स ऑफ देयर नोबल्स, द मंत्रीज, राइट? So administration was in the hands of nobles like Zulfikar Khan, etc. And that is why the nobles started creating their own independent states. And that is why the Mughal Empire started breaking down. Are you all understanding so far? Abhi tak sabko samajh aa raha hai? Please let me know, then we'll move ahead. If everything is clear and clarity is there, please let me know so that we can move ahead. In the comment section, please. Lalita Priya is saying yes. Harish is saying yes. Amritansh, Ishwar, what about you guys? Vatsalya, very good. Yes. Amritansh is saying yes. Vikas, Saurabh, Shivakant. Okay, yes. Everyone is saying yes. All right. So, the modern Indian history में the later Mughals were inefficient rulers, and that was the sole reason why they were declining. And because there were already Britishers and the French who were present in India, they saw that the administration of this huge golden bird is going down. It's inefficient. The kings are fighting amongst themselves. The Marathas and the other empires, they are trying to establish themselves, but they are also getting defeated in certain wars. So this is the correct time to capture this territory, to turn it into one of our colonies. The French and the Britishers, they were against each other. So they were trying to snatch away India. You know, India was turned into a ball, right? So they were trying to play with this ball and snatch this ball from each other's clutches. And Britishers won this, right? This game, this play of snatching the ball. And ultimately, India was converted into a colony, unfortunately. And when India was converted into a colony of the Britishers, you see that spiritually, the knowledge of that India held, that came down. The, you can say the rituals and the value system, the principles, the ethics and the moral codes that we held in a very esteemed manner, highly, they were going down. And till 1857, we'll study how Britishers were successful in looting India, how Britishers were successful in colonizing India, how Britishers were successful in snatching away the ancient knowledge that we had, how Britishers were successful in turning Indians into their slaves, right? But the period from 1858 to 1947, you can say, for me, it is personally a very golden period. Why? Yes, India was deteriorating economically, but there were people who were standing up to protect India. Now the awareness switched on. There were people, can you give some examples of those people, of those men and women who stood up to protect India in the comment section? 1858 to 1947 was the period when those leaders motivated everyone in our nation to fight against the Britishers. Yes, Bhagat Singh is one of them. Very good, Saurabh Mane. Anyone else that comes to your mind? Raja Ram Mohan Roy, Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar, Rajguru, Tilak, Swami Dayanand Saraswati, Aurobindo, Subhash Chandra Bose. Very good, very good. Yes. So from the period of 1858 to 1947, we'll see that spiritual leaders also stood up to safeguard the spiritual knowledge of India. The national leaders also stood up. Why? To safeguard the intellectual knowledge and freedom of the nation. And finally, we succeeded, but yes, we failed at some points also. We'll study that too in this lecture, matlab in this batch. Okay, so this would be the two phases. First phase, how India was going into the clutches of Britishers. Second phase, how India's revived again. Understood? Abhi tak sab clear hai? Are you enjoying the way I am teaching, or is history becoming boring to you? Let me know in the comment section. Is history boring or you are enjoying? You are understanding the crux of what you are studying for UPSC. So UPSC में history इसीलिए है, why history is introduced in UPSC, so that you can understand how India has also struggled. It is not just you who are struggling in life or me who is struggling in life, but it is India also who has struggled for so many years in the past in the hands of so many, invaders and the Europeans. And still, still India stood up with its head high. And still, till this date, also India is fighting against corruption and terrorism. India is not breaking down. So we have to learn from India's struggles. हम ऐसे nation में पैदा हुए हैं जिसने काफी struggles अपने जीवन में देखे हैं. We have been born in such a nation which has seen struggles since you guys were even, born. आप पैदा नहीं हुए उससे कहीं हजारों साल पहले से struggles देखे हैं. बट आज तक इंडिया झुका नहीं और स्ट्रांग हुआ है, गिरा है, उठा है. वी हैव फॉलन डाउन, वी देन अगेन स्टूड बैक अगेन ऑन आवर लेग्स, राइट? सो दैट शुड मोटिवेट अस in our personal struggles, in our personal journey. I know it's very hard when we are preparing for UPSC. Sometimes it becomes very hard, right, to open a book. Sometimes days, no, not all days are good. Sometimes there are days we feel very demotivated. Why am I saying this? Because I understand your journey, I understand your struggles, but you have to know this, that there is hope, right, for everyone. हम सबका अपना पर्सनल जर्नी है. वी कैन नॉट कंपेयर अ जर्नी विद एनीवन एल्स. इंडिया कैन नॉट कंपेयर इट्स जर्नी विद फ्रांस और ब्रिटेन. ब्रिटेन आल्सो हैज इट्स ओन चैलेंजेस, बट इंडिया के चैलेंजेस बिल्कुल डिफरेंट है, राइट? वी कैन नॉट कंपेयर आवर life or our chapters with someone else, but yes, we should know that until and unless we give up, there is still hope. जब तक हम give up नहीं करते ना, hope तो है. Okay, so we are going to crack this exam. We are going to crack this exam of life. I'm not talking about UPSC, I'm talking about life. We are going to crack it and we are going to smile when we leave this life. ठीक है? All of you are with me on this. जिस दिन लाइफ को छोड़ेंगे, हंसते हुए छोड़ेंगे, इस एग्जाम को हम टफ नहीं समझेंगे. दिस इज जस्ट अ पीरियड. ओके, सो लेट्स गेट स्टार्टेड. आज का लेक्चर शुरू करते हैं, ठीक है? ऑल राइट, इनफ ऑफ द मोटिवेशन and enough of the motivational quotes and talks. Let's start the lecture. So when we are talking about the period, I'll open the PDF over here, then we'll start. Just give me some time. So here you can see that I have divided the lecture. आपकी Indian history जो है वो 3 parts में divided है, and we have studied that. Now we are going to start with today's class. Okay, we're starting with the period of 1700s. But before 1700, what was the condition in India? I'll be taking the doubts, but those doubts I'll take after 10 minutes. Next 10 minutes के बाद मैं आपसे doubts लूंगी, ठीक है? So when we talk about the Mughals till Shah Jahan, they were excellent administrators. When we talk about Babur, Humayun, Akbar, the period of Akbar till Aurangzeb was a very brilliant period, art-wise, architecture-wise, administration-wise, right? It was a very brilliant period. However, I personally find many flaws in the Mughal administration. We'll discuss that also, but it's a part of medieval Indian history. But I'll discuss that also in the next lecture, why I find flaws in the Mughal Empire's administration. But because, first reason is that they destroyed our culture. हमारे कल्चर को ना, जो ऑलरेडी एग्जिस्टिंग कल्चर था, they were trying to destroy it, especially Aurangzeb. So because of that, I don't like actually the Mughal administration, but art and architecture wise, India was flourishing and blooming. Even when we talk about our share in the GDP, it was 25% during Mughal administration. So economically also we were doing quite well. But after Aurangzeb came the later Mughals. Aurangzeb के बाद आते हैं यहाँ पर आपके later Mughals. And these later Mughals, they were very, you can say, just give me a second. Yes, these later Mughals, they were very inefficient. ये इनकी efficiency बहुत बेकार थी. Okay. They were basically trying to, you can say ki, indulge more in lust, greed, and all other kinds of sins. And that is why the administration part was in the hands of the nobles, the mantris who were sitting in their courts. So after Aurangzeb, Bahadur Shah I and the other Mughals, they were inefficient. They were indulged in lust, greed, and other activities, other artistic activities, but not focused on administration. Then the Britishers also came. The Britishers also exploited some of the Mughal emperors, some of the Nawabs. They also tried to take advantage of the, inefficient administration of the Mughal Empire. Mughal Empire, it was facing internal struggles, internal mess. Why? Because the nobles, they were creating their own independent kingdoms, and Britishers were watching this very keenly. That is why it is said, whatever fight you are having in your family, don't disclose it outside to your friends or your neighbors, because other people try to take advantage of your fights. इसलिए कहा जाता है आपके घर में जो भी लड़ाइयां चल रही है ना, उसको अपने घर में ही रखो, बाहर जिसको बताओगे वो मजे लेगा, राइट? इसीलिए कहा जाता है. तो सेम थिंग वाज हैपनिंग यूरोपियंस के साथ ऑल्सो. द ब्रिटिशर्स एंड द फ्रेंच, दे वर कीनली वॉचिंग the inefficient administration of the Mughals, the fights which the princely state rulers were having, the independent kingdoms which were established. There was no one Bharat, one India. Chanakya, in medieval Indian history you'll study, his aim was to create one unified nation. He wanted there should be one leader under whose rule the entire India should be there, and that is why he made Chandragupta Maurya as the leader, right? He also approached the Nand dynasty, Dhananand, but Dhananand was so much indulged into all these materialism and sins that he disregarded and insulted Chanakya, right? So Chanakya's aim was to create a unified India, but because Chanakya's aim finally, yes, same as Plato's, PK, right? So same as Chanakya, the Akbar, Jahangir, Shahjahan, they also had this, basically this instinct that we should create one leadership and everyone else should be under us. But because after Shahjahan, after Aurangzeb, Bahadur Shah I, Akbar II, these all the Farooq Siyar, all these kings, when they came, they were so inefficient that they started loosening their grip from India, and that is why different kingdoms. This is one fist, everyone is together. But after Aurangzeb, it started, spreading here and there. These independent kingdoms started coming up, and because of that, the Britishers and the French took advantage. Okay, clear? तो ये होता है आपका जब आप क्या करते हो, अपनी लड़ाइयां दूसरों को दिखाते हो, ठीक है, दूसरों को बता देते हो, तो ये हो जाता है. Just give me a second. I have so far studied that just give me a second. Yes, we have so far studied कि हो क्या रहा था, basically that the Mughals were inefficient, the later Mughals, and that is why the Britishers and the French, they took advantage of this situation. Okay. Yes, now it is clear. Now, when we talk about the Mughal Empire, जब हम Mughal Empire की बात करते हैं, इधर you can see after Aurangzeb, we had Bahadur Shah I. You can also write it down that Bahadur Shah I was also known as Shah-e-Bekhabar. This is important for your prelims. बहादुर शाह वन को शाह ए बेखबर भी बोलते हैं. Why he is known as Shah e Bekhabar? Because he was lost. Bekhabar means one who is lost. Lost means one who is not aware what is happening around him. Okay. So what he used to do when he used to get happy with some noble, with some, minister, he used to give him all the treasure that he had in his treasury. Everything. Every property, land, he never used to have any account of how many lands he has, how many properties he has. He used to give everything to that particular minister. And that is why he was known as unaware king. Shah-e-Bekhabar was his name. This is important for prelims. Okay. Then when we talk about, just give me a second. Yes. Then when we talk about the next important king, which is Jandar Shah. Jandar Shah was a son of Bahadur Shah I. This Jandar Shah was one of those kings who had no knowledge of political administration or public administration. So when you have no knowledge of certain subject and you are put on that particular field, in that particular area, you don't perform well up to your capacity. Jandar Shah was more, inclined towards art, towards dance, towards music. He had no idea how to politically administer such a big empire, because Aurangzeb in his time period, he had a big empire, right? He had expanded his territories. And these later Mughals, they were not efficient to consolidate those territories. And that is the reason why these Mughals were failing. ये reason है क्यों ये Mughals fail हो रहे थे. And then comes the time period when the Mughals were failing, but the Europeans were entering India. So we are going to study that through this particular, you can say, timeline, this time chart. Okay, here you can see. ये टाइम चार्ट है जिसके थ्रू हम पढ़ने वाले हैं आज का हमारा लेक्चर. ठीक है. कैन यू ऑल सी दिस टाइम चार्ट? प्लीज लेट मी नो इन द कमेंट सेक्शन. आपको ये टाइम चार्ट अच्छे से दिख रहा है? Let me know in the comment section if you can see this time chart. Yes, okay. So now we are starting with the period of 1498. ये period होता है when Vasco da Gama enters India. This is Vasco da Gama. He enters India in this time period, 1498. And Vasco da Gama was basically a European trader. Okay, he came from Portuguese. पोर्टुगीज से आते हैं, ये पुर्तगाल थे, ठीक है. और ये पोर्टुगीज वाइस रॉय ने इनको अपॉइंट किया था कि तुम जाओ, यू नो, पोर्टुगीज वाइस रॉय ही अपॉइंटेड हिम. ही सेड दैट यू नीड टू गो आउट in search of territories where we can expand our trade. And Vasco da Gama, he, you know, found India. He was the first European to discover the sea route to India. So this is another important point for your prelims. Who was the first European who discovered the sea route to India? That was Vasco da Gama. So here in the map, you can see Africa ki just upar, just above Africa, here you can see Portugal. And from here, via the Cape of Good Hope, this is Cape of Good Hope near Africa's southern Africa portion, he starts his voyage in 1497, and in 1498 he enters India over here. Okay, this is how he entered India. So यहाँ पर 1498 में, so it took him 1 year to enter India. Okay, and in India he entered through the Ghat side, केरला के थ्रू यहाँ पर इंडिया में एंटर होते हैं towards the south portion. And 1498 was the period when the Mughal Empire did not start. So we can say that even before the Mughal Empire started, the Europeans had access to India. Mughal Empire start होने से पहले ना जो यूरोपियंस थे उनको एक्सेस था इंडिया में आने का. So this is the Mughal Empire time period 1526 when Babur established the Mughal rule in India. This is a part of medieval India, but why we are studying it? So that you have an idea that these Europeans were present way before the Mughal Empire started. Okay, Delhi Sultanate के time पर ये लोग यहाँ पर थे. During the Delhi Sultanate period, these Europeans were present, but their role was just as traders. Now you must be wondering, ma'am, did they have any political aspiration at that time? No. The political aspiration started from Battle of Plassey. The political administration of the Europeans to rule in India started from Battle of Plassey. Before that, they were just here to loot our nation. They were just here to extract as much as they can from India. The peppers, right? Then all the herbs, all these spices, the cotton, the jute for their textile industry, everything that they can lay their hands on, which can earn them profit in their territories, they wanted to do that only. But when the Britishers and the French saw that now these people, the Indians, are fighting amongst themselves, why not take control of the entire nation only? That started in Battle of Plassey. We'll study that. Okay. Moving ahead, we come to the time period of 1600. So 1500 se pehle, the Europeans already started entering India through the sea route. Then 1526, the Mughal Empire started. Then 1600 ka period come. Now here in this period, the Mughals were ruling very efficiently. Till Aurangzeb's time period, the Mughals were very efficient. They were expanding their territory. Even in this map, you can see the Mughals had expanded. Aurangzeb had expanded his territory up till south. Okay. Till Akbar, only the Deccan portion was, till this central portion of India was under the control of Mughals. But Aurangzeb expanded its territories, the Mughal Empire's territory, towards the south also. But there were so many states and so many kingdoms that Aurangzeb had won, that you can say put a pressure, that was putting a pressure on the later Mughals, because later Mughals, they had no idea of political administration. They were run by their nobles, the ministers, and now they had to consolidate all this large land of empire, right? So that was becoming very hard for them, and that is why the Britishers started using taking advantage of the Mughals and the other Nawabs. So here you can see Great Britain took advantage of the weakness of lack of administration of the Mughal Empire and the conflict between Hindus and Muslims. Hindus और Muslims के बीच में भी जो conflict चल रहा था, because I told you in the starting itself, Aurangzeb was destroying the culture of many Hindus, right? He destroyed temples, he destroyed culture. He was trying to also, pressurize Hindus to convert their religion. And that is the reason why the Hindu leaders and the Muslim leaders, the Marathas and the Mughal leaders, you can say the Sikhs and the Mughals, they were not on the same page. Yes, some of the Rajput kings, they were, agreeing with the Mughal rule, but the Marathas did not agree to the Mughal rule. Then the Sikhs did not agree to the Mughal rule, and they were fighting amongst themselves. All of them were a part of India only, and they were fighting amongst themselves. Britishers took advantage of this situation. That is why by 1858 they came fully in power. 1858 से पहले तक only East India Company was trying to win wars in India in the name of British government. But after 1858, the British government eliminated East India Company, closed the company, and took direct control of India. So here you can write it down also in your registers, that period from 1600 to 1857 was the period when the East India Company was ruling. But the period from 1858 till 1946 was the period when the British government was directly in charge of the administration of India. That is why we are studying modern Indian history in two phases, in two parts. Clear so far? Please let me know in the comment section if it is clear. Comment section में जल्दी से बताएं अगर clear हो गया है. Any doubt? Because 10 minutes हो गए हैं. Any doubts that you have, please ask me in the comment section, then we'll resume. Any doubt? All clear. Saurabh is saying all clear. Vatsalya, Shivakant, no. All right. No doubt. सब कुछ clear है अभी तक? कोई doubt नहीं है? Okay. Now comes the time period when Aurangzeb died. अब आता है time period जब औरंगजेब की death होती है. Please remember this point. This is 1707. 1707 में औरंगजेब की मृत्यु हो जाती है. And when Aurangzeb dies, the Mughal Empire starts falling down because Bahadur Shah I, who was also known as, let me know in the comment section, I told you just recently, Bahadur Shah I को क्या बोला करते थे? The son of Aurangzeb, Bahadur Shah I, his other name was Shah-e-Bekhabar. Yes, Harish, very good. Bekhabar means no awareness. How much money I have, how many properties I have, no awareness, total complete blank over here. Okay, but he was a very good writer. ऐसा नहीं है कि इन मुगल्स में कुछ कमियां, ये बेवकूफी थे, नहीं, इनमें और कमियां और भी खूबियां थी, बट कमी ये थी पॉलिटिकल एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन करना नहीं आता था. These Mughal rulers, they were not lost, right? They were artistically very inclined. They were good dancers, musicians, writers, but politically they were not as clever as their counterparts. जैसे कि औरंगजेब थे, अकबर थे, वैसे political administration की knowledge इनकी weak थी. They had weak political administration knowledge, and that is why they became puppets in the hand of their own ministers. Okay. So here Aurangzeb dies, and 1707 का period जो होता है, till that period Aurangzeb had tried to consolidate as much as he can. During that period we had subadars, zamindars. Now these little terms that we are going to come across, you have to write it down in your register. You have these in your PDF also, but try to write it down so that you can revise. Subadars and zamindars, these terms are important for prelims. Subadars, basically you can say, this is the wrong spelling. Subadars, this is Subadar, okay? Subadars, they were the head of Mughal provincial administration. Second highest rank of an officer under the Mughal period was that of a Subadar. जो भी provincial administration है, उसका जो head रहेगा, just like an IAS officer. Okay, you are preparing for this exam. So if you were in the Mughal time period and you became an IAS officer, you would be known as Subadar. Okay, and Subadar was a term. Why it was known as Subadar? Because Suba was a term which was known as province in a Mughal empire. So the one who will be heading a Suba, a province, would be known as Subadar. Okay, that is why they were known as Subadars, because they were heading the provinces in Mughal empire. Zamindars, those people who were heading the zameens, the lands, are known as zamindars. Okay, so that was the kind of administration during Aurangzeb, but all of that got destroyed after the later Mughals came into the picture. Okay, now when we talk about, just give me a second. Now if you can look at this map, यहाँ पर अगर आप इस map की तरफ देखोगे, I'll just erase some of the things so that the map can become clearer. Okay. In this map, through this map, you can study modern Indian history more efficiently. इस map के through ज़्यादा efficiently पढ़ोगे. And if you have, history as your optional, then it would become very important for you to, remember things. Now here you can see, I have drawn in this map the advent of the Britishers, not just the Britishers, the Europeans. Okay. So here you can see the first Europeans who came to India were the Portuguese, who came in 1498. Name the first Portuguese who discovered the sea route to India in the comment section. पहला Portuguese बताओ जिसने sea route के through India को discover किया. Yes, Harish, very good. Vasco da Gama. He was Vasco da Gama. Okay. Then he came to India at Calicut. Kerala में Calicut में आए हैं 1498 में. He came to India. First was the Portuguese. Then second we had the Dutch. Okay. 1595 the Dutch came to India at Pulicat. Pulicat में आप देखोगे यहाँ पर 1595 में Dutch India में आते हैं. This here in Pulicat the Dutch came. 1498 first was Portuguese, second the Dutch. Okay, you can write it down in short in your register. Then third were the Danish. Third आते हैं आपके Danish over here. The Danish came to Tranquebar. तमिलनाडु में आप इधर देखोगे Tranquebar करके एक पोर्ट था, and they came over here in 1616. Third were the Danish. Third were the Britishers, fourth were the Danish. Okay, third आपके Britishers थे 1608 में they came to Surat, the British came. Fourth were the Danish at Tranquebar, and the last were 1664 में the French. And do you know that the French were last to come to India, and they were also the last to go from India. They had their influence in Goa. गोवा में इनका इन्फ्लुएंस था यहाँ पर. तो ये सबसे लास्ट में इंडिया में आए थे और सबसे लास्ट में ही इंडिया से बाहर भी गए हैं. And the two arch rivals among all these Europeans were, tell me in the comment section, दो arch rivals in Europeans के amongst कौन थे? Tell me in the comment section फटाफट से. Who were the two arch rivals among these Europeans? Yes, French and Britain. You have to remember this because we are going to study this again and again in the entire batch. French and the Britishers were the arch rivals. Okay. In today's lecture, I'm giving you a fair picture. Okay. आज के lecture में मैं आपको एक fair picture दे रही हूँ कि कैसे आपको modern Indian history को पढ़ना है. Yes, Portuguese were the last to go from India. ठीक है. They had their influence in Goa, but culturally they were the last to go from India. Politically, I am talking about French and Britain. ठीक है. From the political standards, I am saying कि French and the Britishers, the French were the last to go from India. But culturally, Portuguese were the last, because today also in the southern western portion of India, we have the Portuguese influence architecturally. Okay, art and culture को भी हम लेकर पढ़ेंगे तो उसमें मैं आपको समझाऊंगी क्यों Portuguese culturally last थे इंडिया से जाने वाले. ठीक है. Now here you can see in this particular map, I have included these Danish, the English, the French, the Portuguese, which area in India were under their control. You can go through this map as well. आप एक बार इस map को भी class के बाद देख लीजिएगा, ठीक है? No need to ratify it, no need to cram it, but yes, you can go through it. Okay. I'm changing the slide. Just give me a second. Yes. Now here the slide is visible. Everyone, please let me know in the comment section if the slide is visible. Then we'll move ahead. Because the slide should be visible. Only then we can start the lecture. Okay, the slide is visible. Okay. Now, when we talk about the timeline, we have seen so far that 1498 was the period when Vasco da Gama came to India. Okay. Then we move a little ahead. थोड़ा आगे बढ़ते हैं. Mughal Empire starts in 1526. Then we again move ahead. When the Mughal Empire was starting, the Europeans started coming into India because already Vasco da Gama had created a way to enter India. Initially 1498 में Vasco da Gama ने एक तरीका बना लिया था इंडिया में एंटर करने का. So now the other Europeans were also, attracted towards India. Why? Because Vasco da Gama earned 600 times more profit from his trade from India. अपने कंट्री में यहाँ से जो सामान लेकर गए, whatever goods he exported from India, he sold it in his nation, and earned a profit of 600 times of what he, used to earn normally. जो normally इधर उधर से trade करके earn करता था, उससे 600 गुना ज़्यादा का revenue हुआ. Because of that huge profit, he became very famous. एक तो now he had access to spices, and the pepper was known as the gold spice in India, right? Because the diet of the Europeans was very bland. They used to eat bread and potatoes, boiled potatoes. There were no masalas or spices in European nation because the climate was not good. And in India, we were the hub of spices. That is why these Europeans were very excited and very attracted towards India. So now in 1595, the Dutch also came to Pulicat. Okay, so now from Vasco da Gama, the Portuguese, now the Dutch are also entering. When the Dutch entered, the Britishers already were creating colonies worldwide. They also got, the hint that India is a golden bird full of spices and full of magic. And they also entered with their curiosity. They also entered India, but the first thought in their mind was just to trade. Okay, just to make profit out of India, not to rule India. The first trade thought in their mind was, we are going to India just to trade, just to earn more and more from India. So 1608, the English also came to Surat. All of these, see, when the ant, when one ant gets, a taste of sugar, she calls all the other ants to join her. And same thing happened here. Vasco da Gama, the Portuguese, earned revenue from India. The other ants also started following. The Danish also arrived in 1616 at Tronkbar. And at that time, in 1600, during this period, 1600, English East India Company was the British company, which it was a company of traders only. Okay, they acquired a charter from the Britain government. The Queen at that time, Queen Elizabeth I, she was ruling London, right, Britain. So they acquired a charter from her. Now, another question is, what is a charter? Charter basically is a permission that you can go to this particular place and you can trade on our behalf. Okay. And whatever revenue you will earn, some part of it as taxes you will give to us. That is a charter. चार्टर क्या होता है? एक तरीके से गवर्नमेंट परमिशन देती है कि लो, दिस इज अ चार्टर गिवन टू यू, द डॉक्यूमेंट, थ्रू दिस डॉक्यूमेंट वी परमिट यू, you can go here and you can trade. Even now we take charters of the businessmen who are trading overseas. They take charter from, Indian government, that we want to trade here, we want to go and trade there, right? So English East India Company was a group of traders, and they acquired charter from the Queen Elizabeth I to come to India and to trade over here, because they were coming here with the flag of Britain government. That is why they required a charter. They entered India with that charter, right? 1707 comes, but उससे पहले क्या होता है कि फ्रेंच भी आ जाते हैं पौंडीचेरी में 1664 में. Now 1707 औरंगजेब dies. और जैसे ही औरंगजेब मर जाता है, later Mughals they come, and later Mughals started, showing their inefficiency in ruling. So what happens in India is, all the Europeans, they were interested in textiles, in the jute, the cotton, silk, black pepper, cardamom, etc. So they approached the Mughals, okay? The later Mughals, they approached them and they said that we want to establish our factories over here and we want to trade. And the Mughals said, there is no harm for trading. You can trade, and whatever revenue you will earn, give us some taxes, right? Clear enough? Good enough? कि आप यहाँ पर आओ, ट्रेड करो, जो भी तुम कमाओगे हमें टैक्स देना, the duties you will pay, right? But when these Europeans came to India, just like the sharks in the shark tanks, ठीक है, when they came to India, all these Europeans, they were buying the same things. They were buying cotton, silk, spices, etc. Their eyes were on the same things. And when all these sharks, these Europeans had the eyes on same things, there started competition among them, right? अब जब एक ही चीज का धंधा आप करने आ रहे हो मार्केट में, तो कंपटीशन तो होगा. When you are selling same kind of items in the market, you will automatically get indulged into competition. So there developed a huge market demand in Europe for cotton, spices, etc. And the Indian traders started taking advantage of this situation. They saw that the Europeans are coming, right? Angrez aa rahe hain, and they are buying things from us to sell it again in their market. So we will increase prices. So Indian traders started increasing the prices. But the Britishers and other Europeans also, they thought, we need to eliminate this competition. We want to be the lone shark in the water. हम एक लौते शार्क बनकर रहना चाहते हैं, तो उसके लिए क्या करना होगा? कंपटीशन हटाना पड़ेगा. When you want to rule the market, you will eliminate the competition, right? How many of you watch Shark Tank? Let me know in the comment section. Sony पर आता है ना Shark Tank. How many of you watch it on YouTube? through shorts or on television. How many of you know about Shark Tank? Let me know in the comment section. कितने बच्चे हैं आप में से जो शार्क टैंक के बारे में जानते हैं? जल्दी से बताएं. Yes, it's boring without Ashneer, I know, but how many of you watch it? Let me know. मतलब how many of you are aware of Shark Tank, of this particular series? Everyone is aware about Shark Tank. These are a bunch of entrepreneurs that sit and judge other small entrepreneurs and try to give them the funding that they require, right? So similarly, these sharks, these Europeans, they tried to eliminate their competition. There was one episode in, the season 2 of Shark Tank where Vinita, the entrepreneur of Sugar Cosmetics, the founder of Sugar Cosmetics, she declined to invest in a particular company which was indulged in the same product which Vinita sells. जो विनीता की कंपनी सेल करती है ना, जो प्रोडक्ट्स में कॉस्मेटिक्स में है, वैसे ही एक और कंपनी आई थी जिसके अंदर विनीता ने फंडिंग देने से मना कर दिया. व्हाई? बिकॉज कॉम्पिटिशन, राइट? She wanted to grab hold of that entire company but not be a part, but not encourage that company कि तुम अपने तरफ से कुछ अपना value add करो, right? Why? Because she says competition हो जाएगा ना, I am here to eliminate competition. That was a wrong message, but same thing was being applied by these Europeans. They wanted to rub off the competition, and that is why what they started doing against each other, they started fighting against each other. These Europeans, these English, Dutch, the French, the Portuguese, they started fighting with each other. They tried to sink each other's ships. They tried to block their sea routes. They tried to fortify their post, whatever company they were, whatever post they were opening, trading post, they tried to fortify it. Fortify means they tried to create structures around its boundaries so that no one can enter it. No one can destroy their materials, their goods. अपने जो भी goods accumulate करते थे उसके आसपास बड़ी बड़ी दीवारें खड़ी कर लेते थे ताकि कोई भी बाहर से उनके goods को destroy ना कर सके. To protect their goods, to protect their items, they tried to fortify the post like this. ठीक है? These are the fortification which was being done. ठीक है? They tried to do this. Why? Because they were trying to eliminate competition. ठीक है? कंपटीशन को एलिमिनेट करने की कोशिश हो रही थी. इसी वजह से इन्होंने क्या करना शुरू किया? फोर्टिफिकेशन करना शुरू किया. नाउ जस्ट इमेजिन कि यू हैव योर हाउस, द गेस्ट आर कमिंग टू योर हाउस, ओके, एंड दे आर फाइटिंग अमंगस्ट ईच अदर. विल यू बी हैप्पी? टेल मी इन द कमेंट सेक्शन. जल्दी से बताएं. क्या आप खुश होगे अगर आपके घर में गेस्ट आ रहे हैं और वो आपस में लड़ रहे हैं? इन योर हाउस द गेस्ट आर कमिंग एंड दे आर फाइटिंग अमंगस्ट ईच अदर. विल यू बी हैप्पी? No, right? Now tell me, the guests are trying to, book each other's rooms. Matlab, for example, you have 4 rooms in your house and the guests, they are fighting amongst each other. Now they are closing the doors of their rooms and they are, shutting them off and they are in their rooms separately. They have occupied your rooms. They are saying that these rooms are ours and we are going to stay in these rooms. Will you be disturbed or not? अब आपके गेस्ट ने क्या किया है कि अपने अपने रूम में चटकनियां लगा लिया, बंद कर लिया है रूम और बोल दिया अब हम इसी में रहेंगे. आप खुश हो गए? आप ही के घर में इन योर हाउस दे आर फाइटिंग एंड दे आर ट्राइंग टू फोर्टिफाई देयर रूम्स. विल यू बी हैप्पी? यस और नो? टेल मी इन द कमेंट सेक्शन फटाफट से. वत्सल्या? No, Saurabh is saying no, right? So same thing was happening with the Indian rulers also. These Europeans were fighting amongst each other. They were trying to create forts among, in our nation, right? They were trying to fight. They were trying to create forts, and they were not even bothering about the Indian rulers, the Indians. So the Indians were not happy. The rulers were not happy, and that is why the rulers started restricting their activities. अब रूलर्स ने क्या करना शुरू किया? दे स्टार्टेड आस्किंग फॉर इंक्रीज्ड ड्यूटीज, इंक्रीज्ड टैक्सेस, स्पेशली इन द बंगाल रीजन. And that is why the battles started happening between the princely states and the Europeans. क्योंकि यूरोपियंस की एक्टिविटीज से इंडियन रूलर्स खुश नहीं थे, उन्होंने टैक्सेस रेज करने शुरू कर दिए, उन्होंने यूरोपियंस को कंट्रोल करने की कोशिश करना शुरू किया और यूरोपियंस को आया गुस्सा, क्योंकि भाई वैसे ही हम आपस में कंपटीशन इरेज कर रहे हैं, तुम और हमारे ऊपर दबाव डाल रहे हो. तो यूरोपियंस ने क्या किया? बैटल्स फोर्ज करने शुरू किए. इनडायरेक्ट पॉलिटिकल बैटल्स स्टार्टेड इन इंडिया, स्टार्टिंग विद बैटल ऑफ प्लासी. Here you can see that in 1698 English started bribing the Mughal officials for rights, right? Ki bhaiya, we want rights to handle villages in your administration, in your provinces. So they started bribing the Mughal officials. They started creating forts. And especially in the Bengal region, they were very active. The Europeans were very active in Madras and Bengal region. And the English also tried to convince Aurangzeb to issue us the royal order, that is Farman, so that we can trade in your area without any duty. तो यूरोपियंस ने क्या करना शुरू किया, ब्रिटिशर्स ने स्पेसिफिकली औरंगजेब के कोर्ट में गए और उनसे कहा कि गिव अस द परमिशन टू ट्रेड ड्यूटी फ्री इन योर एरिया. बट औरंगजेब ऑब्वियसली he did not comply with this persuasion. But after Aurangzeb died, the later Mughals had to comply because they were inefficient administrators. So they acquired rights to trade duty free without giving any taxes to Indian rulers. They were trading over here, right? Basically, Indian company, they wanted to buy goods and ship it back to Europe without giving any taxes to Indian rulers and to earn huge revenue in their country, right? And because of this, there were, the officials of the East India Company, they started becoming corrupt. इसके वजह से क्या होता है कि officials पैसा देखना शुरू करते हैं. The officials of the East India Company, they said that India is easy money. We don't have to pay any taxes. The rulers are inefficient. The Mughal rulers are inefficient. We don't pay any taxes. We can earn so many profit for ourselves in India, and some part of that as taxes we'll pay to the British government. So the East India Company officials started becoming corrupt. They started doing their own private trade secretly so that no tax has to be paid to the British government. वो अपना खुद का side में private trade करने लगे. British government was not coming here to see what the company officials are doing, right? So they started indulging in private trade. And they started also misusing the powers given to them by the later Mughals. And because of that, there was huge amount of revenue loss which was incurred by the Bengal government. Bengal government को काफी भारी नुकसान हुआ था because taxes were not coming and trading was happening. The local traders, they were increasing the price, but the taxes जो हैं वो local traders के ऊपर burden आता था. Whatever selling they were doing, they had to pay the taxes. But whatever goods the Britishers were taking out, the East India Company officials were taking out from India at the port, they were given the permission to freely go back to their nation. They were not paying any taxes at the port to the Indian administration. So the Britishers started becoming corrupt. The traders were losing on to their revenue, and in turn, the Mughal administration started losing on to their revenue. There were already fights among the Mughal rulers. There were already emerging independent kingdoms in Bengal, Odisha, Madras, and revenue loss was happening. So all in all, the India's economy was falling steeply down at that time. And the unfortunate, you can say, the incident is that the later Mughals, they had no control over this steep falling down of their economy. They did not have the political administrative knowledge. They did not have the economic knowledge. All they were doing was indulge in dance, music, and lust. Okay. This was the condition of India during 1700. ये था condition 1700 के दौरान India का. यहाँ तक point clear है? Please let me know if the point is clear so far. Any doubt? किसी को कोई भी doubt है यहाँ तक तो मुझे जल्दी से बताएं. Please let me know in the comment section if there are any doubts. Amritansh, Vatsalya, Harish, Vikas, any doubt? Vatsalya saying no. Lalita Priya, no. What about others? 10 में से 2 बच्चों ने बोला है no. Shivakant, all clear. Okay, very good. Okay, so now after Bahadur Shah, the regional Nawabs was, ma'am, is it correct? Just give me a second. Is it correct to call English India Company as rulers in the time from 1600 to 1857? Yes, you can call them rulers, but actually they were traders only, Amritansh. Okay, 1600 say they were predominantly traders, but indirectly they were trying to rule India by manipulating and gaslighting the independent princely state rulers. Okay, They were trying to manipulate and gaslight. Okay, they were trying to pitch one Indian ruler against another. So they were not be known as rulers, but you can say that they were traders who were trying to instigate the Indian rulers against each other and trying to extract profit from that fight. Okay, उस fight से profit निकालने की कोशिश हो रही थी. All right. So now here you will understand that after Aurangzeb dies, these regional Nawabs, who were they? These regional Nawabs were they were just the nobles and the ministers who used to sit in the Mughal court. When they saw that the later Mughals are inefficient, they stepped out of the court and they tried to create their own independent states. For example, Hyderabad was created, Mysore, Bengal region. Okay. So ये जो छोटे छोटे किंगडम्स, इंडिपेंडेंट किंगडम्स बने हैं, ये उन मिनिस्टर्स ने बनाए हैं जो खुश नहीं थे लेटर मुगल से. Those ministers who were unhappy with the later Mughals, they created their independent kingdom. And then in 1712 we have Jandar Shah. 1713 Farrukh Siyar. Now you can see between the time period of Jandar Shah and Farrukh Siyar, there is a gap of 1 year only. So Jandar Shah could rule only for 1 year. Then Farrukh Siyar came. Right? So you can see how inefficient they were, that they could not rule even for more than a year. Okay. Then here you will see कि पहला नवाब बंगाल का कौन बनता है? मुर्शीद कुली खान. Now this Nawab of Bengal, he is a Nawab, not a ruler, not an emperor. Why? Because Nawab means those ministers who were unhappy by the Mughals, they stepped out from the court, created their own independent kingdom. So Murshid Quli Khan was one of them. He used to sit under the court of Mughals. He was not happy with the administration of later Mughals. He stepped out and he became the Nawab of Bengal. He was the first Nawab of Bengal. This is important. He was a very strong ruler. 1717 से 1727 तक he ruled. Basically 10 period of time, time that he ruled for, and he was a very strong-headed person. These Nawabs were not weak, they were strong. The Mughal rulers were weak after Aurangzeb. So he had serious conflicts with East India Company, and that is why we see that the Britishers tried everything that was possible in their hands to acquire Bengal. बंगाल को एक्वायर करने के लिए जो हो सकता था ब्रिटिशर्स ने किया. क्यों? बिकॉज they wanted to snatch away Bengal from the hands of Murshid Quli Khan and the people like Murshid Quli Khan, the strong-headed people. The Britishers wanted only puppet rulers who can give them duty-free rights to trade in India. Britishers को तो यही चाहिए था, ऐसा कोई रूलर हो जो हमारी बोलने पे नाचे और हमें फ्री में यहाँ पर ट्रेड करने दे. But Murshid Quli Khan and people like him, they were not happy with Britishers and their intentions. That is why the battle started. In Bengal, there were 3 strong leaders: Murshid Quli Khan, Alivardi Khan, and Siraj-ud-Daulah. They were 3 strong leaders who opposed the British Empire, who opposed the East India Company and their tactics. So now here, Murshid Quli Khan, after he died, he ruled for almost 10 to 16 years. When he died, towards the end of his rule, their focus of the rulers of Bengal was mostly on the English company only. Usse pehle, before Murshid Quli Khan focused on Britishers, he was more focused on expanding his territory. But when he started seeing and observing that the English East India Company is trying to instigate one ruler against the other, these 3 leaders, Murshid Quli Khan, Alivardi Khan, and Siraj-ud-Daulah, these 3 leaders, they started focusing on English East India Company. After Murshid Quli Khan came Alivardi Khan, and he also started focusing more on East India Company to stop their trade, to stop their, you can say, planning and plotting. And after Alivardi Khan came Siraj-ud-Daulah. Siraj-ud-Daulah was the grandson of Alivardi Khan. So again, he was also strong-headed. He also did not enjoy what the English East Company was doing. So what happens is, East India Company started creating forts against Fort William. Fort William बंगाल में जो है, उसके आसपास ना किले बनाने शुरू कर दिए East India Company. They were trying to command their authority over Bengal. So they were creating small forts around Bengal, in Bengal. And Siraj-ud-Daulah, what he did, he started standing against the English East India Company or British East India Company by writing them letters. He wrote them letters that you are not permitted to create forts in our place. He wrote letters. He He told them that you are not allowed to trade duty free. You have to pay us taxes. You are trading on our soil. You have to pay us taxes. This is my soil. ये मेरी ज़मीन है. This is my land. You cannot create, illegal structures here. And that was not welcomed by the British East India Company because they wanted puppets. The later Mughals were like puppets, but these Nawabs, they were not puppets. So the reason behind the conflict between Bengal rulers, these three leaders, and English company was that the English company was doing trade duty free. They were trying to fortify their trading posts. They were creating structures illegally in Bengal. And that was creating huge revenue loss to the Bengal government. Plus, the Bengal government was writing them letters. But the English East India Company was insulting them in their letters back to the leaders. Matlab, today I am sending you a letter that you have to give this test. Okay, you have to participate in the class. I am writing a letter to you, but in return, you are mailing me that we are not going to pay you anything for the test. We are not going to participate in the live lecture. You can go to hell, right? That is an insult now. Same insult was being done by English East India Company to these Bengal leaders. Okay, so they were not respecting the Nawab's administration. They were not respecting them through the letters. They were insulting them through the letters, calling them illiterate, right? Or telling them that you don't know how to trade, you don't know how to earn revenue, you don't know how to make profits. And that is why there were huge conflicts between the Bengal administration and the British administration. Okay, now tell me in the comment section if everything is clear. अगर यहाँ तक सब क्लियर है तो पता जल्दी से मुझे फटाफट से बताएं. Any issues so far? Anyone? It's clear? Okay. यहाँ तक क्लियर है? अंडरस्टूड. ओके, अब आगे बढ़ते हैं. ठीक है, चलो. नाउ this is the last slide that we are studying. उसके बाद then again I'll take doubts and we'll end the class. Okay, because this is an orientation lecture. I'll tell you in the end of this slide how you are going to move forward with the test that I'm going to give you tomorrow. ठीक है, इस स्लाइड के बाद मैं आपको बताने वाली हूँ मैं कल आपको जो टेस्ट दूंगी वो आपको कैसे अटेम्प्ट करना है. All right. So now company officials, they were unhappy with the way the Bengal leaders were strong-headed and they were trying to take charge. So company officials जो थे वो खुश नहीं थे. Obviously, East India Company wanted puppet rulers. They were not happy with the way the Nawabs were handling them. So company officials, they were thinking that these Bengal leaders are not letting us expand our trade. What we can do now? अब क्या कर सकते हैं? The only solution to this problem is to eliminate these Nawabs or to eliminate these strong Nawabs and put in place puppet rulers. ठीक है, अब क्या हम कर सकते हैं? The company officials mindset was कि either eliminate the strong Nawabs or eliminate them and put in their place we can put our own leaders, our own puppet rulers. Okay, and that is why this planning and plotting started, and because of these opposing views in 1757 it led to the Battle of Plassey. अब 1757 में क्या होता है? Battle of Plassey start होता है. Why Battle of Plassey started? What led to this battle? First was the opposing views of the East India Company and the Bengal leaders. Okay, Ali Vardi Khan was not happy with the Bengal leaders. Siraj-ud-Daulah was also not happy. So obviously clash of opinions. Okay. Second reason was that the company was indulged in misuse of the trade privileges given to them. They were not paying the taxes. They were not paying apt amount of the product to the local traders also. Trader, जो local traders है, उनको भी जितना price है product का उतना नहीं दे रहे हैं, right? So because of that, the revenue earned by Bengal government was coming down. This was the second reason. First was the insult that they were doing with the Nawab, the Bengal Nawab. Second was the loss of finance or revenue to the Bengal government. Third was, please listen to it very carefully. Okay. Third reason was that in Calcutta, there was a, Port William. They started trying to fortify it. They started creating structures without taking the permission of the Nawab of Bengal. Bengal के नवाब की परमिशन नहीं ली and they started creating structures around the post. and that is wrong. If in Delhi, okay, a businessman has to create a warehouse or has to create a structure for storing his good, he has to take the permission of the chief minister's office. Right or wrong? Tell me in the comment section. Not just in Delhi, in any place in the country, if you as a businessman you want to establish a structure for your business, will you not take permission from the state government? Tell me in the comment section. If any foreign company comes to India to open its office, will it not take permission from Indian government? It will take, yes, under Companies Act and other administrative civil acts, right? If anyone from foreign is coming to India to do business, he has to take permission from the Indian government, right? Indian administration. But these Britishers, East India Company was creating its warehouses and structures here without taking any permission from the Bengal administration. Was this right or wrong? Tell me in the comment section. सही है कि गलत? जल्दी से बताओ. Galat. Harish is saying galat, wrong. It is wrong. Vatsalya is saying wrong. Amritansh is saying wrong. It was wrong. But these, company officials, they were thinking whatever we do is right because these Indians are illiterate. What do they know about business and trading, right? We are Westerners. They were not taking any permission from Nawab. This was the third reason. And do you know what happened? Siraj-ud-Daulah, what he did? He became very angry. Naturally, anyone would get angry because it was about the administration of Siraj-ud-Daulah. If the king is not strong, how will the civilians trust the king? अगर राजा ही स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं है, जो मर्जी जो करके चला जा रहा है कोई भी, तो ऑब्वियसली जनता तो भरोसा ही उठ जाएगा. Nobody will trust the king if the king is letting other foreigners establish their structures here and impose losses on the administration. So Siraj-ud-Daulah, he marched towards Fort William in 1756. And what he did, he confined 146 British prisoners in a small dungeon in Calcutta. And out of those 146 Britishers who were imprisoned in a dungeon means a small black room where there is only one small window at the top. So because of suffocation, so many people in a small room were imprisoned. 123 died out of suffocation. It involved old people also, children also, women also. And that period is known as the Black Hole of Calcutta. Us incident ko kya bolte hain? That incident is known as the Black Hole of Calcutta. Remember this for prelims. Who started this Black Hole of Calcutta? Who was the, you can say, conspirator behind it? Siraj-ud-Daulah. Okay. Now this Black Hole tragedy which happened, do you think the Britishers would be happy? Tell me in the comment section. आपको लगता है कि लोग खुश, ब्रिटिश ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी के ऑफिशियल्स खुश होंगे? British government heard of this tragedy and British government was not happy with this tragedy. Our people died at the hands of Siraj-ud-Daulah, and that too by suffocation. The old, the women, the children, everyone died. 146 में से 123 died. So the British government gave full support and power to East India Company officials to wage a war against the Indian administration. Clear? And that is the reason why Battle of Plassey started. The Battle of Plassey, I told you in the starting of the lecture, it was the period, the battle where Britishers, they started, having this dream of capturing India, not just as traders, but as rulers. So from Battle of Plassey started the aspiration of Britishers to rule India, not just to trade. Clear? Please let me know if till this point everything is clear. जल्दी से यहाँ से मुझे बताएं, यहाँ तक अगर सारे पॉइंट्स आपके क्लियर हैं. If everything is clear so far. Lalita Priya is saying yes. Vatsalya, Amritansh, Harish, Vikas. Let me know everything is clear. Ishwar Kumar, everything is clear. Okay. So far we have summarized till Battle of Plassey in our orientation lecture. अभी हमने बताया आज की क्लास में क्या पढ़ा है. What we have studied in today's class? We have studied in today's class in modern Indian history. We are going to study in two phases, 1600 to 1857 and 1858 to 1947. Quickly let us summarize. Okay. We have studied that Europeans started coming to India even before the time period of Mughals. The Mughal administration started in which year? Yes, Rajkumar Mandal. British wanted this war, just needed an opportunity. Mughal period got established in which year? Yes, tell me in the comment section. Yes, 1526. The Europeans entered in which year before the Mughals? Let us quickly revise. Europeans कब आए in India में? The first European to enter India in which year? 1498. Who was he? कौन था? जल्दी से बताओ फटाफट, quickly type. Yes, Vasco da Gama. Very good, Vasco da Gama. Very good. He came from which country? जल्दी जल्दी बताओ, जल्दी जल्दी टाइप करो. He came from which country? Very good. Portugal. Very good, Ishwar Kumar. Very good, Lalita Priya. Very good. Now, after Mughals, tell me, there were two kinds of Mughals. ठीक है, तो ये तो थे आपके original, the initial Mughals, not original, the initial Mughals. Okay. And second category of Mughals were the initial Mughals, and after Aurangzeb, let me know. Yes, very good, Ishwar Kumar. Later Mughals, very good. Now tell me, in which year the last initial Mughal died? I am not asking about the name. In which year? Very good, Lalita Priya. 1707. His name was Aurangzeb. क्या नाम था उनका? औरंगजेब. Very good, Shivakant. Very good. Now tell me, the Shah-e-Bekhabar. Which Mughal was known as Shah-e-Bekhabar? कौन से मुगल को बोलते थे? Yes, very good. Bahadur Shah one. Bahadur Shah one. Very good. Very good. The last later Mughal was 1857 में last later Mughal कौन था? जल्दी से बताओ, जल्दी फटाफट. The last later Mughal, Bahadur Shah Zafar. Shah 2, yes. Bahadur Shah Zafar. Zafar was his pen name. He used to write poems. पोएम लिखा करते थे, तो वो उनका पेन नेम जो निकनेम होता है वो जफर था, बहादुर शाह जफर. ठीक है, लिया. वेरी वेरी गुड. नाउ टेल मी, बैटल ऑफ प्लासे स्टार्टेड इन विच ईयर? किस ईयर में बैटल ऑफ प्लासे हुआ था? जल्दी से बताओ. जस्ट नाउ वी हैव स्टार्टेड. अभी जस्ट हमने पढ़ा है. बैटल ऑफ प्लासे कब हुआ? जल्दी बताओ. वेरी गुड, वेरी गुड. It happened in 1757. And who initiated it? किसने initiate किया? जल्दी से बताओ. What led to Battle of Plassey? Siraj-ud-Daulah. And what did he do to initiate this battle? क्या किया था? Yes, Black Hole Tragedy. Very good. Black Hole Tragedy हुई थी. Very very good. Now tell me in the comment section. ट्रैंक बार में कौन सा यूरोपियन आया था? In Trank Bar in Tamil Nadu, which European entered? Very good, Amritansh Harish. Danish, very good. At Surat, which European entered 1606 के आसपास? Britishers. Amritansh, very good. Saurabh, very good. East India Company. East India Company took a dash from Queen Elizabeth I to trade in India. What is it known as? Charter. Harish, Lalita Priya, very good. Yes, it is known as charter. Acha, tell me, province in the Mughal administration was known as? Mughal administration में province का दूसरा नाम क्या था? जल्दी बताओ. Harish, very good. Very good, Amritansh. Suba. And the head of the Suba was known as? Saurabh, very good. Subadar. Lalita Priya, very good. The head of the Suba was known as? Subadar. Very, very good. बहुत बढ़िया. याद हो रहा है सबको? Are you enjoying this class? Let me know. Years याद हो रहे हैं automatically? Are you remembering the years automatically? Okay. Another important question. ठीक है, एक और important question. Just give me a second. Yes, the question is, listen to it very clearly. Okay. There were 3 very strong leaders or Nawabs in Bengal. Name them. 3 very influential, strong-minded leaders in Bengal. Yes, Shivakant, very good. Murshid Quli Khan. Shivakant, very good. Lalita Priya, very good. Ali Vardi Khan and Siraj-ud-Daulah. Saurabh, very good. Siraj-ud-Daulah, very good. Saurabh, very good. बहुत बढ़िया. Which one of them ruled for 10 years? इनमें से कौन था जो 10 साल रूल करके गया? Shivakant, very good. Amritansh, very good. Which one of them ruled for almost 10 years? Yes, Murshid Quli Khan ruled almost for 10 years. Very good. यहाँ तक सबको रिवाइज हो गया? रिवाइज हो गया अब तक जो भी हमने पढ़ा? हैव यू रिवाइज्ड इट? वेरी गुड. Now let's have a look at what we are going to do tomorrow. Tomorrow there will be no lecture. Lecture will be day after tomorrow on 8th of Feb. Sorry, not 8th, 6th of Feb. ठीक है, lecture होगा अब 6th of Feb को. Recording of this lecture will be uploaded within 30 minutes after the class ends. Okay. What you have to do is, today up till the slide we have studied, you will revise up till that slide. Based on that, there would be 10 previous year questions from prelims that I would be asking, and 2 mains related questions previous year. Okay, ठीक है. And I would be uploading the question paper tomorrow at 10 AM in the morning on the group. जो आपका ग्रुप है उस पे सुबह 10 बजे क्वेश्चन पेपर अपलोड हो जाएगा. It will be having 10 prelims based PYQ question will be from previous year question paper, last 10 years previous year question paper, and 2 mains related question. Now in the mains related question, how are you going to solve it? Always remember, in my class, IBC approach has to be practiced. Introduction, body, and conclusion. Introduction should be of 2 to 3 lines only. Body, आपका main structure रहेगा answer का. Conclusion again 2 to 3 lines only. Okay. In the body, you can create a small flowchart or small map if you want to, but it has to be created nicely in a box at the side of the answer, not in between the answer, the side, either left or right. Preferably, it should be at the left side. Okay, point clear? Now, when you will write the answer, you have to write the answer in A4 size sheet of paper. I'll give you the hint also, how to attempt the mains related question. In the question paper itself, I'll give you the hint, because आपके लिए starting है ना, इसीलिए. You will be given 5 hours time to attempt the question paper. 5 घंटे का time मिलेगा question paper attempt करने का, because most of you are from, you are working professionals. You have to attempt the answers in a A4 size sheet of paper, and इसके यहाँ पर आपको ये lines draw करनी है, पतली पतली छोटी सी, और बीच में आपका आंसर होना चाहिए. ठीक है? And then you will click the pictures of your answers, of prelims answer also and mains answer also, and convert it into a PDF file and upload it back on the group once you have solved it. Okay. So this, like this, you have to approach the test that I'm going to give you tomorrow at 10 AM in the morning. And then परसों से हमारी major class start हो रही है. Today was a summary class, what we are going to study, how we are going to study. From day after tomorrow, major class is going to start, wherein we are going to make notes in the class itself. Okay, I'll be uploading the PDF also. Don't worry, but class maybe we'll be making notes. Okay. Anybody, any doubt? Lalita Priya, prelims with question need to upload or only answers, ma'am? Both prelims and mains, not with question, just the answers, Lalita Priya. Okay, question number 1, option A, question number 2, option C, essay, just in this format. Okay. Any doubt, anyone else? If you know any other aspirant who wants to enroll in this batch, you can ask them to mail us in this mail ID, upscwithease@gmail.com, so that they can get enrolled in the batch. Okay, अगर आपने अभी enroll नहीं किया है किसी student ने, तो आप इस mail ID का use करके batch में enroll कर सकते हो. Now please let me know if you enjoyed today's lecture or not. जल्दी से बताएं. आज एक orientation summary lecture था. आपको अच्छा लगा समझकर? Yes, Saurabh, handmade notes are the best. That is why I'm saying you have to make notes in the class. Lalita Priya is saying enjoyed. Shivakant, yes. Saurabh Mane is also saying yes. Very good. I'm happy that you are satisfied and you enjoyed. Yes, Harish, you can ask your doubts. I'll be coming on the Telegram group. Abhi main for 1 hour I'll be active on Telegram, so I can take all your doubts there. Okay, Harish. Abhi 1 hour ke liye class ke baad I'm going to be active on Telegram. Any of your doubt, you can post it there. Amritansh is saying I don't have Spectrum. Don't worry then, no issues. Okay, the class PDF, the notes, and the NCRTs that you have, they are enough. Bipin Chandra is also enough. Amritansh, PYQs, Bipin Chandra, and the class notes are enough. All right. So on this note, we are wrapping up the class. I'll be coming live for 1 hour on the Telegram channel. So if you have any doubt, you can ask me there. Okay. Thank you everyone for participating in the class. Thank you so much.